Okay, here's how Miro works. See, it's amazing.
What's everyone doing at David's desk?
Ever since marketing started using Miro's collaborative online whiteboard, he thinks all our other teams should sign up.
Why?
He says Miro's making his meetings disappear. And if every team gets on it, that means even less meetings. They're using Miro for brainstorms, mind maps, customer research.
So could we use Miro instead of having another 100 meetings for every round of feedback?
Yep. You can comment, react to ideas, even leave a recording on the board.
And what about presentations?
There are Miro templates for that.
How do you know so much about Miro?
I've actually been using it all along. I just used a Miro board to plan the best vacation.
Okay, I'm on board.
See how Miro users save up to 80 hours every year by meeting less and doing more. Get on board at Miro.com with 3 boards free forever. That's MIRO.com.
At Sleep Outfitters Outlet, great sleep is a big deal. Save 40 to 60% every day on every Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. Queens as low as $249. Customer exchanges, closeouts, and floor samples. Inventory changes daily, so come in for your dream deal today. With no credit-needed financing, expert advice, and up to 60% off retail, it's never been easier to get the sleep and savings you deserve. Go to SleepOutfittersOutlet.com for financing details and to find a store near you.
What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I know that you are here to listen to the best humans on the planet to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Let's do this. I found an amazing woman. I know you guys are going to love her. Her name is Dr. Kim Grimes, and she's an ordained minister, a certified emotional wellness life coach, an author, a personal finance mentor. I'm telling y'all, this goes on, okay? A powerful, inspiring, and life-changing speaker. And she leaves her audience energized and challenged. Now, she encourages people to identify their phobias, overcome their fears, and to achieve their goals and live their dreams. So, hello, if we are not going to have an amazing conversation. Welcome to Straight Talk, Dr. Kim. How are you?
Yay! I'm amazing! Yay! Hello, everyone. Thank you, Neena. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Listen, I have
here.
I'm so glad you came on. We have an amazing audience. We really, really do. And they're so engaging. And so I really love bringing people on here that love to inspire people, impact people's lives. Like all that is like, so it's what I live for. Right. So I want to start off first by asking you, who are you? Like, who is Dr. Kim R. Grimes? Who are you?
Come on. So who am I? I am a change agent. I change the trajectory of teens, young adults, and now adults' lives. I help them to manage their emotions. I help them to put words to their feelings and their thoughts so that they can be who God created them to be unapologetically.
I love that. You know what, Kim? I don't get too many guests that come on my show that match my energy. So we're going to have some fun today, okay? Not many people can do it. So you are hanging in there with me, and you've had a long day, okay? So there you go. So, okay, so tell me about that, Dr. Kim, because, you know, we all have a genesis, right? We all have a beginning. Mm-hmm. And because I believe that we do what we do because God inspires us through our challenges, through things we've done in life, through things we've gone through. Yeah. I want to know a little bit about that backstory. Tell me a little bit about Dr. Kim. Tell me a little bit.
Absolutely. So if you really knew me, right, you would know that at the age of 24, I was a widow. I lost the only man that loved me. I lost my husband at the age of 24. He was in the military. He was in the Army, and he was doing what we call land navigation. And for those who are not familiar with the military techniques that we have or training that we have, land navigation is just a what is the word I want to say? It's in other words, it's map reading, right?
Okay.
It's the way that what we learn to do is we go into the field, and when we call it the field, we're talking about in the woods. Now, I'm a city girl. I'm gonna tell y'all about that, but in the woods, and we actually have to learn how to take an azimuth, we shoot an azimuth, right? And we convert it into grid on the map, and we identify our exact location. The purpose of that is so if ever we're in battle and we get behind the enemy lines or you know, just hurt and we need some support or help or whatever, we are we can find our way. We can give grid coordinates. We can tell, you know, our people, our side, right? Like, here's where you can find me according to these grid coordinates, and they'll come in and locate us. So that's what my husband was doing when a poacher mistaked him as a deer and shot him.
Oh man.
12 gauge shotgun. And for those who are into, you know, guns and stuff, a 12 gauge is a pellet. So it went all over. I still have the autopsy report. And so the bullet the pellets did not kill him. What killed him was it broke his rib, and his rib punctured his heart. Wow. And so he died instantly. And that was the end of the world that I knew as Mrs. Traywood, because that was my maiden name. And so I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm inner city. Like I tell people, I'm hood, I'm ghetto, I'm that, you know, that second T in ghetto, because that's how ghetto I am. Right?
I love it.
Ghetto has two T's, right? Right. I'm that one. And so I'm the fifth child of 8 children. My mother was a single parent, and we're stair steps, right? And so I grew up with all of my siblings in a house. We learned to live together and all that, but there was humble beginnings because with 8 children and a single parent, a single mother, like there were more mouths to feed than there was food. There were more days in the month, right? Than there was money in the house, right? So grew up with humble beginnings and knew at a very young age that I did not want to be a poor adult, right? And so with that, at that time, I knew computers was in. And so I said, okay, don't know nothing about computers, don't have a desire whatsoever, but I knew that was my way out. Education, of course. And so it was like, you know, we can go to school for anything, but I was like, I want to go to school for computers. And that's my ticket. That was my ticket out of the inner city. And as well as my first husband, because my first husband was my high school sweetheart, where he graduated a year before me, and we dated after he graduated because I couldn't stand him right before, like when he was in school. So anyway, when he went into the military, just up and went into the military, because I was planning on going into the Air Force. And my current husband says all the pretty ladies are in the Air Force. And I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm supposed to be. But if I was in the Air Force, I wouldn't have been able to meet him. But anyway, so I was planning on going to the Air Force, and my first husband just opted up and just jumped up. Okay, I'm going to the Army, and came home one day and said, hey, I enlist. I'm going in the Army. And I'm like, what? So I say all that to say he went through basic training and all that kind of stuff. He got orders to Korea. You know, I'm like 22, right? Like really don't know nothing about marriage, right? But before he left for Korea, we got married. And so my thing was like, okay, and I have always been a realist, right? I mean, like I'm just real with it. And so I say to him, you know, we're 22 years old. You're about to go over to Korea for a whole year. And let's be real with this. Like, really? Like, you're going over there. I'm going to be here for a whole year, and we're married. You really think for 1 second that I don't think that you're going to do anything over there? Right. Like, really? So we just made a pact. We were like, hey, you do you, I'll do me. Don't bring home no babies or no diseases, and we good. And so he came back that following March. But he had left that, I think he left that May of the year before, and it was because it was 86 he left, and then I went into the Army.
You did, okay.
as well. So that whole year, instead of waiting, I said, okay, let me go in the Army, because I knew if I go in the Air Force, we're not going to be together. So I went in the Army, but I went in the Army Reserves. And so, but he went active duty. And then the following year, he comes back. And so this is our first time being really like,
yeah,
wife, really, because after the marriage and the honeymoon and all that, he went to Korea. So he got stationed at Fort Drum, New York, up in right above Syracuse, where he was stationed. And I went and I followed him, like, I want to say like a month and a half after it. So I wound up being there. I think it was like, I finally got there in May of 87. And that was our life. Like, okay, I'm a military wife. I'm also, in the military, and then we're going to do this. We're going to do this.
right.
And he had to go into the field, which was a required training for all soldiers who showed up. And he went into the field, and little did I know, the last time I would see him was as I watched him walk away. And that particular morning, I still remember it to this day, of course. We had gotten up, only had one car, gotten up. I took him onto the base, which was a 30-minute drive. And then when I got back home, I had just laid across the bed, like literally, right? Like, oh my gosh, now I get some sleep. And the phone rang, and he said, "Hey, sweetie, I left my dog tags. Can you bring them?" So I was like, okay. So I get up and I go and I give him, he comes out when I show up. He walks out, he gives me his, I give him the dog tags, and he literally says, "Thank you so much. I love you." And I just watched him walk away. And little did I know that was the last time I was, alive. And that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was like I think that was on a Sunday. And by that following Wednesday, my husband was dead.
Right. Wow.
So that was the turning point for me, because at that point, it was like, of course you go into shock, you don't know what is, and that was a point in my life when I was just beginning to get to know Christ.
What's up, y'all? I just figured I have so many amazing things to announce. I do it now. So the first thing I want to tell you is about my free community at winject.com/groups/Neena Perez, Neena Perez. Join my free podcasting community. I also want to let you know that I am working with amazing female leader and entrepreneurs who are mastering their game. We work on goals, awareness, mind flow, and emotional intelligence so that we can get unstuck and get things done. If you want to be part of that community, email me at info@neenaperez.com. I'll see you on the other side. Now let's get back to the show.
Right. Because I didn't grow up in the church. Like, I grew up in the hood, and that's what I tell people. That's where I grew up. And so my mom did not require us to worship, but she required us to believe, right? So we had to believe in God and Jesus, but we didn't do all that other stuff.
Right.
It wasn't, we didn't. And so it wasn't until, I met, my husband, and, I learned a little bit about Christ growing up and all that. But up there, it was like, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to know me some Christ a little bit more and go from there. And then Lafayette was his name. Lafayette was killed, and all bets was off.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, God, I literally blamed God. I was like, that's your fault. Literally to this day, I still remember what I said to God. I said, how dare you? How dare you take the only man that I love, that loved me? How dare you? And I vowed to God that I'm going to get him back. Don't ask me how. I was like, I'm going to get you back. I'm gonna get you back, God. I was so angry with God, and I carried that for a while. So fast forward, while I was or go back a little bit, I did go to I got my undergrad in computer science, right? Because I said I did not want to be a poor adult, so I went to school for computers. So I got my associate degree in computer science, and then one of the things that the military does is, like, he was my sponsor. So when you have a sponsor, active duty member, when they no longer associate with the military, you got to go. Bottom line. Like, so they, they tried their best, but it was like the house, everything what we had there, I had to pack it all up and I had to
Wow.
leave. And so, right.
So you lost more than just your husband. You lost your livelihood. You lost everything you're used to. Like, you lost a lot.
Everything. Exactly. And so what I did not want to do was go back to Philadelphia, because that's where I grew up and it was my way out. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that's where I wound up, back in Philly. But my sister, I have a younger sister who served in the Air Force. And at the time she was stationed in Virginia, Langley Air Force Base. And she said to me, come here. Cause one of my things were, I didn't want to be in Philadelphia because everyone knew what happened to me. And what I did not want to deal with, people coming up to me being fake and phony, saying, oh, my condolences. Oh, and they did, because someone said to me, oh, you're young, you're married again. But I was livid. I was
Like, that's not the response.
Like, how dare you say that to me? And so it was like, I did not want to be in Philly. I made my way down to Virginia, where my sister was, and I've been here ever since. Fast forward, like, I was so mad at the world, like, mad. Like, if you breathe, I didn't like you. I was still in the military, because so when I got word that my husband was killed, I went to my reserve unit and I told them. But me being naive, not knowing how to get out of the military, I went to my first sergeant. I was like, I'm done. Like, that was it. And I thought that worked. Like, no.
Yeah, right.
Girl, they gave me 90 days to get myself together. And then it was like, you need to report here. You talking somebody mad? Like, that really took, because I blamed the army.
Yeah,
of course. I blamed God. I blamed the army. I blamed everybody.
They took everything from you. Like, why you want to serve? Right. Yeah. Wow.
And then I had to show up and report. And oh my gosh, I gave them hell. HELL. I gave them hell. And I know it was yet by the grace of God. They did not kick me out. I would have been like, no, baby, you need to go. Right. Everything that I could, like, do wrong, I did. They tell me to show up for formation, and for those who don't know military terminology, a formation is you're showing up to report in, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we report in. We show up, we sign in, and then we have a big formation where everybody is accounted for, right? I wouldn't show up for formation. I would just like I don't care. I would tell officers off, like I was enlisted. I didn't care. I was like, no, I don't care. I was horrible, just literally hard. I smoked.
You were angry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I smoked, I drank, I cussed, I partied. I did it. Like, right. I was just, and my mindset was like, I'm going to get you before you get me. Like, that's it. I'm going to get you before you get me. Fast forward. I got here 88. I enrolled in school to work on my bachelor degree at Crispin Newport University here. And then, I'm still doing my military thing. Mad as hell. Every time I had to go, every weekend. 1 week in a month. So then, I actually went to this conference, and, it was a gentleman there, but my mindset was, I'm gonna get them before they get me. And I had an attitude against men. I was like, I'm gonna manipulate them. I'm gonna get them. And so this particular individual, like when I walked in the room, my last name was Treywick. His last name is Grimes. And I didn't know anything about him. But when I went into, what happened is I was late. Remember I said I ain't care? So I showed up late. I ain't care. And they were like, the A through H or whatever is full. So the M through Z or whatever was full. We're going to put you in the room with the A through H or whatever. And I was like, whatever. So when I walked in the room, I literally scanned the room. And until this day, I remember, I said to myself, as I looked at the men, because I was out, I was like, I'm going to get somebody who I don't know. And this is what I said, Nina. I was like, ill, know him, ill, like literally before, like as I was walking through the threshold, this was my mindset. And then I laid eyes on my current husband and I was like, oh, who's that? And then I went to the room, went back, ill. Well, who's that? And finished that, went to my seat, sat down, and
so funny.
I was like, that's it. Like he was my target. Like I was like eyes on him the entire time. But what I did not realize is how much he would love me, like because
you didn't realize the setup from God is what you didn't realize. Exactly. You were just his bratty child. He was still gonna make you
right. Wait. So Nina, he was, he grew up with both his parents. He's the baby of 8. We both had 5 sisters, 2 brothers.
Wow.
And so I would go to church I wasn't doing the church thing, but I would go just to get with him. Like, right. Yeah, I'm gonna go. And I wasn't paying attention because I was busy trying to, get with him. So
God will do it. Let me tell you, God will do it.
God will do it. Unbeknownst to me, he was an officer. And I hated officers. I was like, oh no. But then for me, it was like, okay, I can bend the rules.
Right.
This one, I can bend the rules. But funny. He encouraged me and empowered me so much that I, mourning for my husband and all, and he, wanted to date. And so I was like, no, because I'm in mourning, I'm grieving. there are going to be times when I'm just going to cry and he's going to be like, I'm crying over a dead man, like, and you're alive. Right. And this is what he said to me. He said, that's okay. If you have to cry, go ahead and cry. He said, need be, I'll just hold you. Need be, I'll cry with you.
Oh, wow.
I was like, who is this man? Right. And so that's what made me start taking him seriously. Before then, I didn't at all. And then he encouraged me to go to stop showing up late for formation, to wear my uniform. I say wear my uniform, right? Because he used to say I was a dirt ball. Like that's a word that we give people who show up in their uniform and their boots are not shine. And
yeah.
Good. And I was like, whatever. So and so long story short, I wound up going to officer candidate school. I got the and that's the thing. I was showing up so raggedy. These people, God's grace, these people gave me recommendations so that I can go to officer candidate school. Go figure.
Because when God has laid out your plan, it don't matter what you're trying to do. Listen, we all go kicking and screaming for a lot of things God wants us to do. And he's just sitting there like, just go. You have no idea what I'm doing for you. That's pretty amazing though, right? Because it shows your journey, like through the anger, through the frustration, through that, that bitterness, but also through the healing, right? Through that powerful healing. Yes. Do you remember that moment for you when you finally surrendered to God? Do you remember that? Was there a moment or was there like many moments that just got you there?
I want to contribute it to many moments because I got out of officer candidate school, which was a uphill battle. Like that was a heavy lift. That is, and then even with my then that was my boyfriend. That right there. I think it was some time that went by because I was an unmarried widow. That was my category. So I had an ID card and everything. And Uncle Sam was giving me money every month, Right. So it was a number of months a number of things because I had to first let God back in. But then I realized that the word got in, even though I didn't accept him. Right. I didn't say, come into my life, Jesus, none of that. at that time, but the word was in and in me. And so it got in all the time, me going to church with Lionel, which is my current husband. And so it was a number of things, like, and so when I finally surrendered, it was with Lionel and I, after we got married, it was like, okay, we'll go to church, do that.
Yeah.
But then, and then we did the church thing. And then I actually wanted to know God even more. Cause the church, to me, is like a superficial thing, right? Because to be honest, you cannot even begin to learn about God and Jesus by going to a church. And I'm not going to say, like, the pastors, they do their best, but it's it happens outside of that. Because think about it, you're only going 2 hours. You're not even scratching the surface by going. And so, or when you go and learn, like, you're just getting crumbs, just like Jesus was talking to the lady, and she, long story short, she wanted her daughter to be delivered. And Jesus was like, wait a minute, I can't. And she was like, even the dogs that eat the crumbs from the table get something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the point I'm making is that when we go to church, we're just really getting crumbs. So I'm saying all that to say that I had a desire to really get to know God for who he is. And so that's what led me down the road of being ordained. So that was that. And then, as years went on, like how I was showing up in the world, it wasn't like I did not have confidence, but it was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I didn't know my gifts and my talents. I knew all of my weaknesses, but I didn't know my strengths. I didn't really give light to my abilities and all of that. So I say all that to say that I had to begin to do self-work for me, because I carried that for so long. And I never had an outlet. Like the military didn't come to my rescue and say, hey, let's get you counseling. Let's get you.
Right.
None of that happened.
Right. They should have, but yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
None of that happened. And so I just find myself just not being me. Right. And so I said, I need some help. I need to begin to go in and learn of me. Like, who am I? Like, what are my gifts? Why am I here?
Right.
And go from that. And so the self-work that I've done on me helped me to uncover a lot of stuff about me. And it helped me to not only uncover, but to acknowledge myself and everything about me. And then I learned how to own me. Like how to own everything about me, from my full lips, my button nose, my big eyes, right? If you ask my husband, I drag a wagon, and all that as well. And so I say that for those who know about big booties, I just got a big booty. That's what dragging a wagon is. And so
I love you.
To own all of that and not be intimidated by those who are around me, those who are in the room. And I had to do the work. And so now I've done it. And so with that, I know how to manage my emotions to the point where I recognize my triggers. And that's
awesome.
Right. And if you are a trigger and you're a quick trigger, I'm like, all right, I need to get away from you. Right. I need to not interact with you. I need to, change my routine so that I'm not reacting to you, but yet I'm responding. And so that's what I do as an emotional wellness life coach. I help and I teach people how to really manage their emotions. But not only that, I teach them how to uncover their greatness so that they can be who God created them to be.
That's
right?
Amazing.
I teach them how to fall madly, did I say madly? In love with who they are, right? So that they can own and be themselves and not, be fake and phony. So
unapologetically.
Yes, unapologetically. That's who I am.
I love that. I love too that, your story is also wrapped in something extremely important, which is community, right? Which is one another, because God, you were angry with God, so you weren't even looking at him. You were just so angry, but he used the love and the softness of Lionel, right? Lionel,
Yeah.
to soften you and to
Yeah.
come in and open your heart so that then
Yeah.
you can receive, right? And that speaks a
Exactly.
lot about love and community and
Mm,
empathy and
mm.
kindness,
Yes.
right? Because they could have
Yeah.
treated you, he could have treated you, anybody could have treated you as mean as you were being, right?
Absolutely. And you
Yeah,
know what? And being from the inner city, what I did not add is I grew up fighting. So I'm
right,
a
right,
fighter. Like, so treat me mean. I'm like, okay, what you got? Like,
right,
you
right.
want to fight? Like, all right. Like, you feel
Yeah,
just leave. Right? And
right.
it's like, look, thank God, like they weren't doing guns back then like they doing now, because I would
I
have.
know.
I had a couple of bullets. I'm quite sure.
Thank God. And you had military training. Like, that's scary. So let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Exactly.
So okay, so you're so really what you're doing now is God is taking you through this amazing journey of like harshness and hurt and pain,
Yeah.
and also love and compassion and empathy.
Mhm.
And now you're using it to impact other people's lives,
Yeah.
right? To help them
Yeah.
know who they're great and what their greatness is, and
Yeah.
who they are, and to come to that. And
Yeah.
that's such a powerful thing to leave your mark on in the world, right? Because that's how you transform a life for generations, not for
Yeah.
just the one, but for the generations, right? Because
Absolutely.
think about the transformation and the work that you've had to do, and
Mhm.
how now that's impacting generations in the world. So what you're going to be doing to others is going to do the same. And that's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing to do. And
Yeah.
I know you have a lot of great things going on. Like, you're also an author, right? And you're also a podcaster and all that. So I do want you
Absolutely.
to, so I want you to tell the people who are listening, because they already know that, and I want to give them that at the end, like how they can work with you, right? Because a lot of people, are
Mhm.
lost in not knowing their gifts and talents,
Oh
are
my
lost
goodness.
in not going what they bring to the world. And all
Yeah.
of us have a significance. We do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we
Yes.
do,
Yes. 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 Yes.
right? So tell us a little bit about your, like, what you do with your clients,
Mhm.
and also, your podcast and all this great stuff you got
Absolutely.
going on. Yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I do, and I created, and I don't take full credit for it, but I created an exercise. And this is something that I did on me, and it worked. And I was like, oh my gosh, this works. And so all of my clients, and you don't even have to be a client, I give this exercise out to everyone who is lost and they're not clear on who they are. It's
Mm-hmm.
called Path to Greatness. And so the Path to Greatness exercise, it consists of really 4 questions. And these 4 questions I didn't come up with. I actually read them in a book. And so I'm not going to take credit for the four questions, but what I did is I took those 4 questions and I put them in an exercise. And so the exercises, the 4 questions is well, let me tell you the exercise, then I'll tell you 4 questions. So the exercise is to ask these 4 questions every day, right? You write out your answer, and then you go in front of the mirror and you read them out loud,
Oh.
right? And you do this for 7 days, not nonstop. And then it's a 2-week exercise. So after you do it 7 days, there's no repeating of an answer. You can't repeat an answer. So if you write down an answer, you can't repeat it anywhere again, right? The second week, same thing. You just repeat what you do. What do they call it? Rinse and repeat. The only thing is the second week you can repeat one answer. So if you said something the first week, you can then repeat it on the second week. And so the 4 questions are: what I like about myself is, what I appreciate about myself is, what I love about myself is, and what I admire about myself is. So what I love about myself is that I'm an amazing woman. What I appreciate about myself is that I can get along with anyone. What I like about myself is this pretty old smile of mine. What I admire about myself are my big brown eyes, right? What I like about myself is that I have tenacity. What I admire about myself is that, look, no matter who it is, I can get along with them. What I love about myself is my cocoa brown skin. And what I appreciate about myself is that, you know what? I'm always going to give you a word of encouragement. So I say all this to say, that this method, that exercise is what taught me and helped me to uncover my greatness. So this is what I do with my clients. Anyone who comes to me and say, hey, I want to work with you, in particularly, even my team, they have to do this exercise. And even if you don't want to work with me, do this exercise, because it's actually a litmus test for me to see if you want to do the work. Because some people will show up and say, yes, yes, yes. And you give them the work, they're like, I don't want to do that. I don't do that. And I'm like, okay, and you don't, right? You don't. Peace, I'm out, right?
Right.
So that's what I do. I literally, I'm a coach, and I literally help them I start with that exercise, and I build from there based on what they uncover. We go in and we talk about what they uncover, and each client is different. And so that's what I do with my clients. My passion are youth and young adults. Like, that is it. Like, I can hop on one foot, hands tied behind my back, blindfolded. I can, when it comes to youth and young adults, I can go all day long, right, with them.
That's awesome.
And so that's basically what I do. But I do youth, young adults, and adults as well. My age group is from 12 to 30. But yet I'm getting those over 30 as
that
well.
are interested. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so literally that's what I do. So what's going on with me right now? I just launched a campaign that's called Our Mind Matters. And what Our Minds Matters is about, it is a campaign that that was galvanized because of the mass shootings, the school killings, the gun violence, and the rise of anxiety and depression in our young people. I felt, okay, I need to do something. Something needs to be done. And the reality is, our emotions are the foundation of our mental health. How do we process these emotions?
Right.
And we learn. Like, I learned from my mom. I love her dearly, but my mama was a cusser. She may not admit it now, but my mama was a cusser. So guess how I manage my emotions. I'm gonna cuss you out.
Right.
So I learned, how to manage that through that exercise. And so this workshop that this campaign, it's a national campaign, and the goal, the objective is to have emotional wellness workshops on a monthly basis in our underserved communities.
I love that. That's powerful. That's really, really powerful. I was in an underserved community too, right? I was born and raised in the projects, like fighting too, so I know what that's about. But how powerful is that though? Because I don't ever recall of people pouring into me when we, back in the 80s, right? 70s and 80s. Right. And they just didn't have that kind of support and programs, right? But I know how powerful that is though. I do. Because I have nieces and nephews that are still in the projects, right? So when I speak to them, it's always life of encouragement, always lifting them up, always telling them, there's something outside of here, like that type of stuff. So what you're doing is powerful, Dr. Kim, powerful. Thank you. I want to know, and I'm sure everybody who's listening is like, Dr. Kim is energetic. I know people. She's amazing.
Only I can bottle it up, but hey.
Don't bottle that up. You let that go.
No, I'm like, bottle it up and sell it. That's what I
sell it. Oh yeah. You have a lot of money if you sell it.
But it's my gift, so I have to use it. So
amen. I love that. And I love that God let you go through all of the hurt and pain and all of that, because that's who created you. That's why you are how you are. That's why you're so tenacious, right? Because of all of that. So yeah. So I know that
I can relate to our young people, because I thought I was 24. Right. I just turned 24. So I was born 23 than I was 24, because my birthday was in August and my husband was killed November 4th. Right. So I was still like, and so it's like, oh my gosh, I went through that at 24. And so my heart goes out to our young people who are struggling, right? Struggling just to identify who they are. I get it, because my identity went out the door when he died, because I attached myself to that. And so, I'm just so, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to God.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everyone who encounters you is grateful too. I know I am. I'm grateful for you
Thank you,
too. I
Neena.
really am.
My dear.
I really am.
Thank
Thank you. And
you.
I wanna give people a way to connect with you. So what I'd
Absolutely.
like you to do is give us like what's the best place like to connect with you, to follow you, to work with you, like all that stuff.
So don't email me. I'm telling you what not to do because
Right.
I don't care for emails. I'm gonna tell you the best way to get in contact with me is text me 757-897-8964. That's my cell phone number. If you're social media, you can find me on every social media platform, and you can find me as Kim R. Grimes. Kim R. Grimes is where you can find me. I do have a Dr. Kim R. Grimes YouTube channel, and I just launched Our Mind Matters YouTube channel as well. But the best way, text me or WhatsApp me. Say, hey, I heard you on Neena's pod, and
That's awesome.
That's simple. It's easy. But don't email me.
Well, I mean, I got a lot of people that listen, so don't get mad at me if your phone starts blowing up. Okay.
I won't.
Okay.
Look,
and your podcast. Right. You got to mention that.
Oh, okay. But here's the thing: if you call me or text me, leave a message. Tell me who you are. But if you just call me and don't tell me nothing, I won't know who you are.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's the thing. If you want to reach out, let me know. Hey, I'm Kim or I'm Marie or whatever your name is. So I also have a podcast. It's called You Are You Unapologetically. And what we do on this podcast is we talk about how you can be you. Like the whole objective is to teach our listeners or to encourage our listeners unapologetically. And so our topics are geared to you being you, you owning you recognizing, oh, you know what? Like, not only, I'm great in these areas, but here are my faults as well. And owning your faults as well. And so right now, our topic is the weight of your words, right?
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah.
We use words. We use our mouth. You know what the Bible in James said about the tongue of ours, right?
Yep.
And so that's what the topic is. And we, you can find me on any platform. It's You Are You Unapologetically. You can just do a search on that and I'll pop up. My website is Dr. Kim R. Grimes /podcast to find my podcast as well. So those are ways to get in contact with me.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. I am grateful for your presence. Thank you.
Oh, likewise. Thank you. I'm honored as well to be here. And so I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Me too, guys. Thank you. Aw. I mean, I am so grateful. Like, guys, I told you she was going to be full of energy. Like, I know I have like a ton of energy. So to have somebody come on and bring that same kind of energy is such a blessing. So guys, make sure that you follow Dr. Kim. I'm going to link all of her information below so that you have it. Please contact her. Please work with her because you will not regret it. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. You are the best. Okay. I have the best podcasting community ever. I really do. And I appreciate you guys being on here. Make sure you go on to winject.com/register, winject.com/register and register for my free community because I want to be really connected with you and I want us to brainstorm and be with each other and connect in a deeper way. If you are looking for coaching, please make sure that you also email me at hello@straighttalknosugaradded.com. I work with women and I help them develop that business that they are envisioning in their hearts so that they can win. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you, love you, love you. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time.
Jake Knapp is the inventor of the design sprint and the New York Times bestselling author of the book Sprint. He's also the co-founder of Character, a venture fund for early stage startups. How and why did you start using Miro?
I came from this position of thinking, I don't want to be doing stuff online to thinking now when I do a sprint in person with a company, It's like, we're going to use Miro, even though we're all in the same room, because that's a better way for us to get this work done. As an investor, we're basically investing in their ability to solve problems. We're saying, we think this group of people is going to be able to solve a problem in a really great way and create value by doing it. And actually, you need to give people the tools that can help them make decisions, help them collaborate, help them visualize and see things in a different way. And Miro does all those things. So to me, at least as an investor, I'm thinking, give the team the tools that are going to help them think, that are going to make the most, brighten their skills as smart folks. And Miro is at the top of that list.
Israel is 5,690 miles away from the U.S., 11 hours by plane. Hate travels faster. In a comment, in a post, in a second. Jewish hate is up 388% in the U.S. Black hate, Muslim hate, and Asian hate are up too. When one hate rises, they all do. Let's stand up to all hate together. Share and wear the blue square from standuptojewishhate.org.